Yes, you guys, welcome back to the player ratings video after our scoreless draw against Leeds United this afternoon. In the player ratings video, I'm going to score the manager, the first team and the subs as well, giving them a score from 1 to 10, so I hope you guys do enjoy. And to give you guys a quick reminder, I have released the match review where, I give my thoughts and opinions on the game today. I weigh the pros and cons to find a very fair conclusion, in my personal opinion. And of course, it's going to be linked to the cards above, so make sure you guys give that a view. Without wasting no more time, let's kick things off by giving our manager his score first. Now with Tuchel's score, let's keep things serious. It's not like this was like a terrible game from Tuchel. Pros and cons, that's what I like to do. I like to weigh up the pros and cons to find my conclusion. And in the game, the pros were that Tuchel rotated the team. And considering we have a must-win game against Atletico Madrid in a few days' time, that was the context needed to explain the lineup decisions in this game today. I thought Pulisic as a wing-back, yeah, for sure, that definitely worked. I didn't feel like we were weak or that tactic didn't work against us. It was fine. My only negatives, my only cons, I'd say, was that when it came to the in-game management this time, it felt like this was a game that was primed for braver tactical decisions, braver subs to be made to try and force them in for us. I did feel like maybe subbing off Pulisic for Reece James like for like. I understood why, but sometimes it feels like a wasted sub because as the game went on, we didn't actually change the system. I thought this was the perfect time to use a back four, have an extra attacking player in Leeds half to try and get that result against them. And to be honest, it was just like replacements for players playing in those positions. And as the game went on, the football didn't really improve. We didn't look any more dangerous. Yet we actually looked less dangerous when it came to creating chances in the final 30 minutes. So for me, I did feel like that was a bit of a negative on Tuchel's part. And for that reason, I'm going to score Tuchel a 6.5 out of 10. We now move on to the first 11, starting with Edouard Mendy in goal. Now, you guys know I've got a lot of love for Mendy. I feel like he's been an outstanding signing, been one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League. His clean sheet record right now, I think that's 14 clean sheets. And considering that, he didn't start the season immediately because he came in after we played a few games. And considering that against Newcastle, where if he started, that would be another clean sheet, he'd be levelled with Ederson for clean sheets this season. What was really highlighted was Mendy and his concentration because, when you're a keeper playing for a team like us, where you're not really getting tested too often, it's very easy to lose concentration, have your positioning poor, get those details wrong. And of course, that's how you can lose the game and get affected. But in this game today, Mendy made two outstanding saves that definitely stopped Leeds from getting any fortune against us. In particular, that second massive save he made, that was, for me, I thought a guaranteed goal on Leeds' part. I'm going to score Mendy an 8.5 out of 10. We now move on to the back three, starting with Azpilicueta. And, at times during the first half in particular, because, him and Pulisic have never played together on the right-hand side, you can naturally expect there to be a little bit of confusion at times. However, with Azpilicueta, ever reliable, over 400 appearances for us. For me, clearly a Chelsea legend at this club. This was another standard performance from him. I think with Aspi, you can always rely upon his just his presence, his ability to keep that consistency, his professionalism. And for me, I don't know, it's one of those games where I can't remember anything negative and I can't remember anything stand out to at the same time. He fulfills that tactical role so well on the right-hand side. For that reason, I'm going to score him a standard 6.5 out of 10. We now move on to Andreas Christensen. And wow, has this guy really just gone up levels. Now he's playing in this current team. How many times was he comfortable carrying the ball out from the back and just driving into midfield? And this is what Christensen does. Yeah, he might not be the defender that's going to play like those, long balls over the top between the lines, but he is the guy that is comfortable carrying the ball into midfield, increasing the tempo, which he was trying to do time and time again. Reading of his game was so good. Interceptions he made. For me, this guy, 24 years old, is really starting to show some of his promise even more now. I thought this was a good performance, and I'm going to score him a 7 out of 10. Now, we move on to Antonio Rudiger, and you guys know I'm not really about this biased life. Honestly, the reality is these guys, they're millionaires, they're football players. I don't like to take things too personal. As long as you play well, you can win me over just like that. And throughout this season, I've been consistent in my praise for Rudiger because what he's showing now to last season is like completely day and night. Wow, that interception he made, that header to stop Bamford, that was world-class defending. That was incredible. You know, he's plays like a leader. He's so commanding. He gets so tight. He gets aggressive. I'm actually loving his his little like dark art plays as well. And you know, he really has deserved his place in the team. I think that's just very fair to say. And I think if you don't say that, then maybe you're still holding on to some hunches. But yeah, for me, I thought he was probably our best defender in the back three. And for that reason, I'm going to score Rudiger a 7.5 out of 10. And now we do move on to wing backs. And I'm going to start with Christian Pulisic first. And, you know, in the first 30 minutes, the danger Pulisic brought. You know, if this was Football Manager, I'd say that, you know, Pulisic at wing back, his role was set to wing back with attack because, you know, he was in very advanced positions quite a lot. And I think, you know, in the first half in particular, he was playing so advanced at times that people thought that this was like a standard set, you know, 4-2-3-1 system. His ability to just get past his man 1v1, get to the byline, those cutback crosses. You're hoping that some of the attacking players could have done a lot better from the service on Pulisic in those moments. I felt like as the game was going on, especially after the first maybe 35 minutes, it felt like he was visibly getting more tired in that sense. Is this a combination of a lack of like consistent game time and match time? Potentially, I think that does play its part, considering that he was subbed off around like the 60th minute. You know, this performance shows that there's a lot more to come from Pulisic. This is a great performance to help build his confidence and, you know, work on the other minor details in this game too. But for that reason, I'm going to score him a 6.5 out of 10. And now we move on to Ben Chilwell at left wing back. Now, I'm going to sound quite controversial. I'm only going to stay true to my opinions. Yes, I watched the game. No, I'm not just exclusively watching the game through SofaScore and Who Scored. You know what I mean? They're not the most accurate when it comes to that stuff, but it gives you a little bit of a reference in regards to, you know, the details in his game. And even though Ben had one or two difficult moments of the game, I think naturally coming up against Rafinha, who is known for skinning any man in this league, let's keep things real, I think it's fair to assume that sometimes you are going to get beat. But for me, am I going to focus on the negatives to just override Ben's entire performance? Personally, I just don't think that would be fair. I feel like, you know, yeah, one or two times in the attack, he, you know, maybe got the final ball wrong, which was kind of the same for every attacking player in the team today. But I liked how he was a constant outlet. You know, his defending was decent. Yeah, he got beat twice, but he got a 60% tackle success rate, which is good against Rafinha. He played some nice, cute balls. He was tucking in midfield quite well too to help be that extra man to, you know, take shots from outside the box. And, you know, he was constantly getting up and down, up and down. I do feel like with more experience playing as a left wing back, he'll definitely clock the positioning because, you know, a few times, of course, his positioning was a bit too high up and there was space in behind. But again, for me, there were still positives in this performance, which I definitely saw and, you know, definitely helped us in regards to pushing Leeds back as well. I'm going to score Ben a 7 out of 10. And now let's talk midfield, starting with Jorginho. And I'd say this was most likely his weakest game under Tuchel so far. I was thinking maybe Cover could have been the best foil to Kante. However, considering that both players like to, you know, leave their positions and attack and carry the ball, you know, I can imagine that, you know, it could be a risk to use both in the same midfield. You know, sometimes in games like this, you know, Jorginho does get beat in midfield. He does get skip past. He does lose out on his 50-50s, which can put the team under more pressure. I felt like with his passing as well, it wasn't as progressive as it has been in recent games too. And I think from a defensive point of view, because he was the midfield player that had to sit back more for Kante to go forwards, I don't think this was like the greatest example of his recent form. So for that reason, I'm going to score Jorginho a very standard 6 out of 10. And then alongside him, I'll be discussing N'Golo Kante, and wow, I mean, what a performance. Completely ran the midfield, you know, clocking up the highest numbers for not only, you know, passing, touches, tackles, interceptions, recoveries, but also dribbles as well. He was constantly looking to carry the team forward, drive the team forward. This is something that Kante does do a lot for us. And, you know, I do feel like a lot of times we just don't really appreciate him enough. I feel like he only gets appreciated in like the very, very big games. But most times when he's playing really well like this, he's not really in the conversation. And I just think that's like not as fair, considering he's such a world-class player that performance at a very consistent level. For me, I'd say he was definitely the man of the match by a mile in this game today. Catalyst in midfield, ran the show and tried to make things happen for us, even taking shots from outside the box too. I'm going to score Kansé an 8.5 out of 10. Now we move on to the attack, starting with Hakim Ziyech. Now, I'm going to keep saying this, but I have watched him play for the past few years. I know how he likes to play, how he receives, what makes him effective, what makes him dangerous, and, playing him in a way where he constantly has a man behind him, when he has to shield the ball when he's receiving, it's not the best way to use Hakim Ziyech, in my opinion. You're always going to see Ziyech being quite quiet in games like this. Yeah, a few times he shows some good quality with through balls in behind, balls over the top. I thought in the second half he grew into the game more as we were forcing our game onto Leeds more. But at the same time, I've seen Ziyech. I know he can do a lot more. This is a guy that consistently gets double digits for assists and goals, and we haven't been seeing that recently since Tuchel's come. So let's hope that Ziyech can maybe adapt his game. I'm going to score him a 6 out of 10. Now we move on to Mason Mount, and Mount today was looking quite good. Some very nice switch balls to just increase the tempo of the attack. Combined well with Ben Chilwell down the left-hand side too. At times was constantly dropping deep into midfield to try and receive on the half turn and try to just quicken the tempo of our game. However, I do feel with our attack in general, we reached these blocks where, we just kind of ran out of ideas and imagination. I think a few times there was opportunities for Mount to be braver, arrive in the box and take more responsibility there. I think that's one aspect of his game that he has to continue to improve and work on. And in the game I felt like he wasn't the only one, but I felt like maybe his influence was starting to wane as things were going on, and then he got subbed for Hudson-Odoi. So for me, this was a fairly average performance of Mount today. I'm going to score him a 6.5 out of 10. And up front, to complete the first team, we move on to Kai Havertz. Now, I was really hoping that Kai was going to get a goal today because I think his overall performance kind of deserved that. Now, in those final few 20-30 minutes, I'm not going to use that against him too much because I feel like the tactical nature of the game was kind of not working for us in that sense. And actually, if you're the striker, then you are going to suffer. In the later periods, it was coming really deep to try and find something of the ball. And once he was doing that, we had no focal point up front. So I guess with more experience, that's something that he'll look to iron out his game. However, the movement in behind, the danger, the intelligence, the later arrivals inside the box, yes, he was causing Leeds a lot of issues from an attacking point of view. Of course, we cannot forget that the finishing was not there today. I think he had the most shots inside the box, which is promising for me because a lot of times our strikers aren't getting 4 shots in a game. Now it's about finding consistency and patterns, but today I thought Kai was dangerous, he was good, but of course not as clinical as he can be. Still, I'm going to score him a 7 out of 10. And now to end things with the subs, it's going to be quite hard to review them. I'm going to give them all a score of 6 out of 10. Now, Reece James coming on, I guess because our attack was kind of lacking in that sense, there wasn't much he could do from an offensive point of view other than just maintain that wing-back position. Yeah, a few times he played some interesting balls inside the box. However, a clear sign, an issue we had in the game today was attacks constantly breaking down. And it wasn't down to any one sole player, but it was down to a multitude of players in multitudes of occasions consistently, and it's hard to build those patterns of play in that sense. Hudson-Odoi didn't have too much time. One opportunity where, left-hand side, cut inside, tried to force a shot. I'm liking that Callum is looking to take more responsibility and get more goals because this is something he can clearly provide to the team. It's going to come, you guys. And in the case of Timo Werner, if the service ain't consistently there, then what do you expect him to do? So there you have it, you guys. That was the player ratings video after our game today. Leave your thoughts and opinions. What did you think? Agree with the scores? Disagree? State your reasons why. And leave your own scores too. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Line CV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos.